I'm the only one left of my family. I'm the last one.
Even if we did find out who did it, I will still have that emptiness because I don't have her.
She had so much love and life to live and to give, and it's unfortunate that it was cut short.
At least 128 dead women have been found outside on Long Island since 1976.
One person is alarming, but hearing a number over 100 is something that is unacceptable.
Who's looking to see who killed these women?
It seems as if a lot of these women have been forgotten. The families haven't forgotten them, but I think many other people have.
We have this map that shows some of the cases. What stands out to you?
I think the array of dots is really staggering. There are so many cases. And the thing is, the map isn't complete. We don't have all of them because at least 35 of the women are unidentified. So there's no way to pinpoint where they were found.
And it's significant that they were outside.
It's just abnormal. It's abnormal to have bodies outdoors. Most people want to hide their crimes, so they'll typically tend to keep the body indoors, try to figure out a way to dispose of it.
The question that I'm concerned about is are they connected? Is it something where a lot of these women that have been discovered, are they from one individual, which is bad in itself, or is it from several individuals, which is also concerning, which means there is a comfort level to do this.
There's a lot of dots, but they're not just dots.
Each one of these dots represents a person, a housewife, a mother, a sister, a daughter.
We have these bodies, now we have to figure out what happened to those people.
These families are waiting years to find out what happened to their loved one.
Do I expect resolution? I don't. Would I be happy to hear some accountability in some way? Of course. Do I anticipate that happening after 40 years? Probably not.
This is Lindenhurst, where the body of Laura Parker was found 40 years ago.
Laura Parker, 14, found in a hole.
This was all trees, you said, right?
It was trees, and there was a lumber yard nearby. And it's where a lot of teenagers hung out.
So this is the intersection Monroe Avenue and Frank Street, but it didn't look like this.
It was very different then, and on that day, some teenage boys had come here to build a fort because it was a popular teenage hangout, and instead they found Laura under a rug and some trash.
Laura disappeared when I was 6. The day that she was found, I was playing at a friend's house down the block, and the mother got a phone call saying for me to come home. They put me on the phone with my mom, and I said, Mom, I just want to stay. And she said, you need to come home now. And I knew something was wrong. I remember coming in through the back door, seeing my parents sitting at the kitchen table and the 2 detectives. And as soon as I saw my parents' faces, I knew. And then I just lost it. We received many prank calls. I think the worst was someone called late at night. My mom answered the phone, and it was a young girl's voice, and she said, Mommy, I want to come home. And my mom just started, yelling Laura, and then she heard young kids laughing, and then they just hung up the phone. Even the last detective was pretty frank with us and said, listen, most of the guys that are cold case detectives are near the end, near their retirement. We'd love to help you, but unless someone comes out of the woodwork and says, I did this, there's no way this is getting solved.
She was just a ball of life. Life has no light anymore.
A body is left here in a suitcase. How many cars, how many people passed her without knowing? It's so dehumanizing. Over there, the body of Tanya Rush was found in 2008. She was found in a suitcase.
And her daughter said they haven't been back here since.
No.
Too painful. And it was somewhere over here. They didn't know exactly where, right?
Right. They believe her body was found here.
I just couldn't comprehend really what was going on. For a while, I just knew like I would not be able to call mommy. Like I can't call her, I can't talk to her. But I didn't understand what was going on.
One of the things that struck me was when Blessin, who is her youngest daughter, said she couldn't believe, she was told that her mother died, but she didn't know how. She didn't know how her mother died until she was 12 years old. And she learned about it on the internet.
Yeah. They made a point of saying they don't often do internet searches for that reason.
My mom died when I was pretty young. A lot of my memories are non-existent. I have things here and there, like I'll hear stories and I'll be able to kind of reminisce on the stories, but that's other people's perception of my mom. I don't have a lot of memories of my own. So my grieving is like grieving what it could have been. And I have to sit with that a lot.
My mom had been missing for a week, and I was the one that went to go file the missing persons report, but because I was underage, I needed an adult to come and do the report for me. On the very day that I went to file the police report is the day that I found out that, the night I found out that she had passed away. And when my father told me, I just passed out, I blacked out. I'm only about to be 16 years old and I have to navigate and maneuver through life without my mom, the one who gave me life, the one who taught me everything I knew thus far. I just could not understand. Like my life as I knew it was completely changed.
It's hard. I would be lying if I said I don't have hard days.
But we have to keep hope. We have to remain hopeful and we have to know that justice is coming.
In 1,000 feet, your destination will be on the right.
So this is Fairchild Avenue in Plainview.
This is where the body of Tynesha Brewster was found. Her charred body was found in a smoking cargo container. And it was found behind a building on this street.
We don't know nothing, but somebody knows something. They believe that she fought. She fought for her life. And
it was a struggle, yeah.
The people she was dead before they burnt her body. But that's the reason they burnt her body, because
to cover the evidence. We didn't get the right closure because she was burned beyond recognition. So we weren't even able to have an open casket and mourn, you know, and to be able to feel like we had some type of closure.
She has come to me in my dreams and she's just smiling at me.
We still like not trying to give up hope of like we're gonna get that call.
Yeah.
Like hey, I'm here. I'm sorry I didn't call y'all in 2 days, but we didn't get that call. You know, like you still thinking like that.
Many of these are considered cold cases. Some have been solved, many were murdered, some they don't know. The point is, there are all these dead women out there and we don't know what happened to them. Why don't we?
Some are 40 years old.
Well, when I started my reporting, neither the Nassau nor Suffolk police departments had cold case units, and they still don't. But both district attorneys' offices have created them.
We're working primarily with the Suffolk County PD. We're dedicating staff and resources to that. We've just started that, and that's really kind of an offshoot of the Gilgo investigation.
We have ADAs in the Homicide Bureau who are working on cold cases constantly. They carry a cold case along with their active cases. Unfortunately, both police departments are shorthanded. You know, we have 7 active homicide detectives. We used to have double that number.
Who is looking at cases that are over 10 years old? If you take a cold case and just say you give it to a homicide investigator, and a homicide investigator has a homicide he has to investigate, now it's taken away from the cold case. The homicide team in Suffolk County Police Department were absolutely phenomenal. But unfortunately, they were undermanned.
Outside of New York City, Long Island cops are the highest paid in the state. So in some ways, you're getting less for spending more because you're paying the cops more. In order to stand up whole new units, that's a big expenditure. And if I had to guess, I'd say the reason they don't do that is because they know that the taxpayers won't stand for it. So I don't think the beginning of this conversation is about cutting services. I think it's about being more efficient so that you can provide more services.
They're in touch with the families. They're telling them, yes, we're still looking at this. We're reevaluating the evidence. We found something. We're going to speak to a witness, whatever is going on. But you have to balance that with giving them false hope that it's going to be solved, tomorrow.
Or ever.
Or ever. And I think that's a difficult balance, but one that we try to make very clear to them.
There still are families out there, and I've talked to a lot of them. It's very difficult because it's the worst moment of their lives, and the last thing they want to do is relive it. But when you talk to them, the pain is still so fresh and raw, even years later.
I think the challenges are just the age, something that happens in, say, 1980. Where are the witnesses now? Are they still around? What is their recollection? What is the condition of the evidence? Has the evidence been properly maintained? So those are the disadvantages. Obviously, the advantages are now we get to use the advancements in forensics and investigative techniques that have occurred over the last 20, 30, 40 years and apply it back. And hopefully using these new investigative techniques, we could develop further evidence which would lead to an arrest.
The majority of murderers try to conceal their crimes. But if you're saying that these are very kind of public places, then yeah, then you're not talking about the norm or the typical kind of killer.
It's for the family. It's for the people left behind. We're never going to bring their loved one back, but they need closure. They need to know what happened. And I can't imagine going through so many years without ever getting answers to those questions.
It matters. It matters. Every person, every body that's found in Suffolk County, every person that is murdered, that's a life that matters. And we owe it to the victims. We owe it to their families to do everything we can to find the person or persons who committed the crime, regardless of when the crime happened.
And when you can tell them, it gives your heart a little pump of, okay, we did something good today. And then, of course, you say, yeah, but there's so many more we need to do, to work on.
Justice will never bring my mom back. It will never take away the pain of losing her, but it will give us a little chip off our shoulder to see that the person responsible for this is held accountable.